If you saw the tutorial of this pant and you want to see that of this blouse, keep on watching. And if you've not seen it yet, I'm going to be linking it. Watch that before you watch this. Hi, my name is Timi Kenza James. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, consider doing that. So here I have the leftover fabric from the trouser. So if you've not seen the trouser video, please go ahead and watch that. Now I folded it in half and gave it a good press. I'm marking 13 inches, which is going to be the length of my top, plus 1 inch for folding allowance. Then from the shoulder point downwards, I'm marking the length of the armhole, right? So that's from the shoulder to the armhole. I just drew both lines in a straight line. Then I'm marking 5 inches for her shoulder and 5 inch on the armhole line as well. Then I'm connecting that would be a guideline for me for my armhole. Now by the time I'm done doing that, I'm going to come to the armhole area and insert the bust measurement, which is a quarter of the bust measurement, 5.5. That's what I used. Then 1 inch shoulder slant, and I marked 2.5 inch for the neck width. I connected the shoulder slants like so, and then I just went ahead to make a curve for my armhole. And then on the hem side, I'm just going to use the entire fabric that I have, because I want the blouse to like be a little bit of an A-line, but I don't have enough fabric, so whatever I have left is what I'm going to use. So this is what the front side of the blouse is looking like. So I'm going to cut, and on the shoulder slant I'll leave about a quarter of an inch for joining the shoulder. Then I cut out my blouse. Right now I've not done the neckline yet, so I'll mark 3 inches for the neck depth, or 2.7, guys, because I discovered the 3 inches was a little bit wider than how I would want it to be. So depending on how wide though, you can have whatever you want. So what I have left, I'll just arrange it and give it a press as well. Then I'll come back to lay my front on the back panel. So for the back panel, I'm not going to be adding a zipper or anything, so I do not need zipper allowance. So I'm just going to lay the front to the back panel, and I'll go ahead and trace it off and cut, except for the neckline, which is not going to be as deep as that of the front neckline, right? So I'll just make a 1 inch depth for my back neckline, and that will be it for the top, except I'll be making a slit on the back side so that it helps the neck go in easier. So I'll do that slit later when I'm done cutting the lining. So I just went ahead to cut lining for both the front and the back panel like this. You can omit the lining, but I really do like my lining. So I have this rope that I took out of that scrap. I don't want to throw it away, and I don't know what to use it for yet. So but I eventually used it to make a bow in front of the dress or the blouse. Now I'm cutting the lining by 1 inch so that it will be 1 inch shorter than the main blouse. Reason is because I want the main fabric to sort of fold in on the blouse, right? So you don't have to do that actually. So by the time I'm done, I'm going to go ahead to join my neckline. So I'll be starting from my back neckline. I'll match the neckline of my lining and that of the back, and then of the main fabric, and I'll go ahead and stitch round first, right? So you remember I said I wanted to add a slit at the back neckline, so that iron plate point is still there. Now where I sewed, I'm just going to make notches so that it enables the lining to sit properly inside of the blouse. So after making a notch, I'm just going to go ahead and sew a straight line just close to the center back, that crease line that I put on the iron, or with iron on the main blouse, and then I'll sew back like so, and then I'll cut that open. So what I'm just trying to do is to put a slit, but at the same time be able to turn it over, right? So I just made a seam that is a little bit like a V, but the V should not be wide at all. It should be as close as possible. So I just turned everything back to the right side so that I see that everything is sitting nicely, right? You want to cut as close to your seam as possible when you're cutting out that V point to be open, so that everything sits properly. So this is what it looks like, and it looks really nice. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and press that neckline, then I would join the front side. Now for the front, I will just lay the lining on the back, on the front as well. Now the lining is going to sit on the right side. I forgot to say that on the back side of my blouse. So I'm going to go ahead and sew on the neckline using a 1/4 inch sewing allowance. I will just go ahead and join everything on the neck like so. Then I'll make those cuts or notches, whatever you like to call it. I trimmed off excess from the lining that I had there, so I just went ahead to make notches, and then I'm going to top stitch. If you like, you can top stitch that back side as well, but I didn't do that because of that V that I wanted to sew. So I ran out of thread at this point, but after fixing it back, you go ahead and top stitch, and then you turn the right side the lining back to the wrong side, and this is what it looks like. So before I'll go ahead to sew, I'm going to come back to join my armhole side. So I'll bring back my lining to the right side of the fabric and stitch on my armhole, and I'll go ahead and back stitch at the end of each seam. Then I cut out, I'll just make notches to enable it sit nicely. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and then on the back side as well, I'll bring back the back, turn the lining back to the right side, and then I sew my armhole, right? But before I bring back the back side, I'm going to as well drag my lining back to the hem of the blouse, and then I'll sew the hem like so. Then I'll turn it over and give it a nice press, and do the same thing for the back. When I give the front a good press, now I'm going to grab that rope that I told you that I had. I just cut this from the edge because this fabric is actually a scarf from my previous project, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and tie it into a bow like this. Just look at what I'm doing. I'm just basically tying it. There's nothing fancy, right? Then I'll place it on the front side after I've gotten how wide I want the bow to look. I'll just find wherever I want it. You can put it at the side or in the middle, wherever. I just decided to put it at the middle, and then I'll go ahead and top stitch on top of it, and I'll come back to join the back and the front together. When I'm done, I'm just going to cut out excesses from my shoulder, and I'll be joining the shoulder of the back to the shoulder of the front. And by doing that, I will just lie the front on the back side, and I'll put my hands inside that side seam that is yet to be closed. I will match the shoulder right side facing each other, then my fingers will come out on one of those, then I grab the other one and pull it inward. What you want to do is to make sure that one of the shoulder is sandwiched inside the other one, right? But then let the right side of the fabric face each other. As you're doing that, then I'll go ahead and sew my shoulder like so, and I'll do the same thing to the other side before I join the side of the front and the back. When you're done and your shoulder is clean both on the wrong side and the right side, I'll go ahead and match my blouse. Then I start sewing from the hem of the blouse. I'm using the least sewing allowance as possible on the hem, and then I narrow it into the regular sewing allowance that I want on the bust side. Reason being that I want it to be sort of an A-shaped blouse, if you remember. So I'm just maximizing my fabric. So I did the same thing to the other side, and I gave the blouse a good press, and that was it about our blouse. It turned out so beautiful, and I cut out excess sewing allowances or excesses. By the time I was done, this is the blouse. It looks so cute, guys. So I decided to sort of put these pearls on top of it, but I later took it out because I didn't want to go through the stress of using hand needle. But overall, it's nice. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel. If you do recreate my tutorials, don't forget to tag me on Instagram or send me photos. I'll be more than glad to see them, and see you in my next video, guys. Bye.